I'm Jen Lederer, communication strategist, stand-up comedian, workshop facilitator, consultant. What more do you want from me? We're here talking about AI. And before I jump into why your voice matters in this world of automating everything, if you work in AI, if you work in HR, if you run a team, and you find yourself saying, I know I've got talented people here. How do I optimize what I've got? I am running a workshop at the end of this month, July 30th, 12 p.m. Eastern. It's virtual, called AI for HR, Your People Problems Solved, where I'm going to show you my approach to using AI for strengthening communication within a team so that you can get the most out of the people that you're working with. And also, so your team can better understand themselves and the other people that they are working with. So if you're interested in that, check that out. The link is here with this video. Okay, let's get into it. Why your voice still matters. So yesterday I talked about getting to the work, using AI up to the point where human connection still matters. And today I am talking about why using your voice, honing your perspective, understanding how to still articulate your value, how you see things matters. Because eventually you have to show up. Eventually you've got to get on the call. You've got to show up in the meeting. You are taking the stage, right? So I talk to these people, these business owners who are all excited about automation and AI. And I get it. Okay. Listen, I am not here to talk you out of AI. I am also using it. I don't know. Have you all heard about this phenomenon that's being called the Gen Z stare? Where you say something to someone in the younger generations and they literally, you can watch their brain almost power down because they don't know how to process information the same way us older people have learned through having conversations, watching long form media, reading a book. Have you ever? They don't do that. Right? They have grown up in a world of 10 to 30-second snippets. And now they're growing up in this world of automation where it's no longer required necessarily a lot of the time to actually process information, which is all good until you have to show up on a sales call, in an interview, on stage, giving a presentation, giving an interview on a podcast, hosting a podcast of your own. You can sit down and strategize the best rollout for the most curated and niche podcast that is proven by all the robots that it's going to hit. Okay, here's the mic. What are you gonna say? You can sit down and strategize with AI on how to optimize your team. But then how do you, the human, sit down and connect with another human and effectively communicate, here's what the vision is, and here's how I know you can implement this based on the information I have about your personality and the way you process information and your role within this company. I posted a video before going live about how companies are now in the interview process asking people to answer not why should we hire you, but why can't we just automate your role? So they are asking people to articulate why should we hire you over automating this out? Now, if you do not have a clear voice and understand your perspective and your value proposition, it's going to be more and more difficult to answer that question. Especially if you're over there being like, I don't know, I automated the entire process up to getting to this interview and now I don't even know who I am. I have no voice. Hold on, let me ask ChatGPT what my voice and tone should be in this moment. Eventually, you have to show up, right? Especially if you're a business owner, especially if you manage teams, you work in HR, you work with people. Automation hopefully is helping you bring people in to the business, right? Getting more clients, getting more people in front of you. But then what happens when you eventually have to show up? And, when I talk to people who are like, yeah, I use AI to write my newsletter and I turn it into a blog and we recreate it into all these different social media posts. Awesome. But there is a lack of development in our own communication, in how we are thinking and processing and understanding our own work, because it's being automated within an inch of its life, that our relationship to our work is becoming more and more disconnected. People don't even have a fully articulated perspective on their industry, on their work, on where they sit within the industry with all of the changes happening. There is no clear perspective or voice because you don't have to develop it. You can automate it out, which is fine up until the moment when you have to show up. And those moments still exist. So how are you developing that? As a communication strategist in tandem with AI, that is part of what I help my clients understand and be able to articulate, right? Developing a strong perspective, having a strong perspective is what creates strong brands. And if you have ever, had a really great bio, let's make this really simple. Think about if somebody wrote a really amazing bio for you, for your website, for LinkedIn, for wherever. It's amazing. It encapsulates everything you've done. It positions you beautifully. Awesome. Now someone says, hey, what do you do? In your head, because you read the words, you feel like you know exactly what you do. You're like, it's perfectly clear. Look at that. Boom. But then when that goes from 2D to 3D, right? And you are needing to actually be in conversation with somebody and communicate to people of different backgrounds, people in different industries, people with different personality types, you have to take that information and bring it to life. How do you do that if you never take the time to actually engage with your business in the same ways that we used to have to? Now you don't have to. So there has to be more intention put into you caring about how you connect, about how you communicate, how you position your brand. And again, we are living in a world where, you can clone your voice, you can clone your whole being. You can have it create videos for you, and you don't have to show up. Let's say 90% of the time you've figured out how to do it. But what about when you do have to show up? networking events, podcast interviews, job interviews, when you're talking to your boss about wanting a promotion. Eventually, you have to show up. And you don't want to get caught with the Gen Z stare, which is this, by the way. And I'm curious if you have experienced this. It happens in moments where you're like, why are you not, hello? Are you here? Like you walk into a store and they say, hi, welcome in. And you're like, hi, how you doing? Nothing, right? there is no engagement. Something is happening to our brains. And if we flash forward 10 years from now and everybody just steps all the way back from their communication, from having original thought, from being able to engage in interesting conversation, from being able to take words that were written for you and bring it to life. Ugh, I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world. Eventually, you have to show up. So my question for you today is, what are you doing so that you can show up with impact? When you take the stage, when you are presenting a vision to your team, how are you developing your voice within the world of AI, within the context of all of the ways that AI can be helpful? How are you doing that? I will tell you, one of the ways that I am holding myself to this is by doing these lives. Because I have, in the last year, gone through a lot of iterations of what it means to work within communication. You know, the storytelling has been a huge core tenet of my work, and what stories can do to create connection, not only with an audience, but within yourself. When we write, when we create, it's not just an expression of who we are, it's an exploration of who we are. Through the process of writing, through the process of having to answer questions for yourself and look at things from different angles, we become more clear on what it is we're saying, on how we are different. And if you are automating that process out, you are leaving gold on the table that you do not have access to unless you engage with your work, with yourself, with your voice, with your story, with your team, with your industry. So this is me practicing what I preach and engaging with my own perspective and voice within the context of AI. Because like I was talking about yesterday, I sit somewhere in the middle of wanting to automate absolutely everything and be able to step back and like watch my business run as a machine, and wanting to avoid it completely for a million different reasons. Mostly because I watched iRobot. I don't want to have a war against the robots. And because human connection matters, okay? It matters to me. It matters to your work. It matters to your team and the culture you are creating within your company and within your brand. Your voice matters. If you want more on this, join my workshop at the end of the month, July 30th, 12 p.m. Eastern. It's virtual, $99 to join. Link is right here with this video. And I will be back tomorrow because I am here every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, unpacking in real time my take on AI. I would love to hear your thoughts on any and all of this in the comments. See you tomorrow.